we're gonna have some crappy lighting because it's currently storming. Yay!
Curious butterflies.
You mean bread and butterflies?
Oh, yes, of course.
Hey guys, it's Kaylin from KJ and Her Books, and welcome back to my channel. So we're filming a little bit differently today because, as you know, I'm moving and I haven't got any books left in my bookshelves. I've gotten rid of all my other bookshelves. I have my big white one, which is the main one that you see in my videos. I have that one still standing because I'm keeping that, but I've gotten rid of the other ones, everything but my book cart, and I have no books left. They are all packed away because we move next week. Next Wednesday we get the keys. So I am working on a moving vlog as well, so you won't see our process of moving until we're fully in the place and I've edited the whole thing. By the way, that's thunder. Like I said, it's storming, so if you hear thunder in the background, that's what's going on. We're moving and don't really have a lot of opportunity to film, let alone the places to film. So I'm trying to get as much filming done as I possibly can before we do move, because I don't know when I'll have another chance to film. So here I am today to do another Cards Against Books, which I'm going to do a little bit differently because I'm going to be picking purely off my book cart, which is what I should have been doing originally because that's all the books that I need to read. But it's also going to be a month of me being really, really busy, and I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to read much anyway. So this TBR could end up being just a fail with all the crap that's going to be going on this month. At least I won't miss the sound of trucks. We're going to be doing Cards Against Books today, but before we get into that, I'm going to wrap up the books that I read in the month of April. So April ended up being quite slumpy for me. I didn't get a lot of reading done. I just wasn't in the mood to read any of the books that I had on my TBR or any of the books that I had in general. I just really wasn't in the mood to read anything or take photos or film much. So I didn't read much, and most of my TBR is kind of a fail because I didn't read half of the books on it. I did end up reading 3 books in the month of April, which isn't too bad. Definitely not great, but I still did some reading, so I'm not complaining there. The first book that I read was The Last Reunion by Katie Nunn. Really enjoyed this. This was my favorite book of the month, I think. It was just fantastic. I'm pretty sure I spoke about this in my April TBR, I think. But I did a read along with Tandem Global Collective over on Instagram, and I basically read it along with a group of other people for a whole week, and I had so much fun doing it. It was really good to chat to these people about the book that we were reading and our thoughts, and sharing our thoughts with everybody as well on Instagram. I really loved it. So this story follows 2 different perspectives and 2 different timelines. So one of the timelines that we follow is set in 1945 in Burma, and we're following a group of women who have joined up for service to go to Burma and work as, they're kind of like canteen ladies. So what they do each day, they set up like a van where they have food and they have like amenities and all sorts of things that will help the soldiers with their morale and just make them feel a little bit better despite all the stuff that they're going through in World War II. And the main person that we're sort of following is B, because we're sort of going off her story and following everything about her. So it's her with all these lovely ladies, and we're seeing how difficult it was for them. Even though they weren't exactly on the front line to begin with, they still had to deal with a lot. And it may sound like an easy thing to do, just providing these sorts of things to soldiers, but it was not easy. It was not a simple task. You know, they got up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. They didn't close until later on that night. They had a very, very long day, and they had to deal with a lot. The next timeline that we follow is Olivia in 1999. She is an assistant to an art dealer, and she has been given the task to go and look for a collection of nets. I honestly don't know how to pronounce that properly, so I apologize if I butchered that. I did hear Katie Nunn pronounce it correctly, but it's just gone out of my head. So Netsuki, which is like Japanese dolls, and very, very rare Japanese dolls, including one that's the fox girl, which is like the main important one. So she has been tasked to go and talk to the person who owns these, which turns out to be B. So in trying to work out how to get these dolls and have them for the art dealer. She ends up developing a friendship with B, and she learns about B's history and her story and how she came to get the Netsuki. And honestly, it was such a good story. Like, it was filled with so much emotion and so much history. Katie really did do her research on it. And it's a World War II story that you don't hear anything much about. Like, you always hear about like the civilians and the soldiers, but you don't hear about like this side of the war with these women that aren't fighting. They're just there to help the soldiers in their daily lives. And it was really interesting. I really, really enjoyed it. Perfect way to start off April. I highly recommend it if you want to try reading historical fiction, because it's not mainly set in 1945, because we do go into 1999 as well. So it's switching timelines, so it might be a good way for somebody to get into historical fiction if they haven't read it before. The next one that I read was the first volume in the Giant Days graphic novel series by John Allison. This was a lot of fun. It was literally just a slice of life graphic novel. I've heard so many things about it, and I found it on Scribd, and I was like, I need something to break up the emotional read. That was the last reunion. I'm gonna read Giant Days. It was quick, it was fun, it was cute. I really enjoyed it. It really just follows 3 girls who have just started college and their little college adventures. And the last one that I read in April was The Night Circus, which you'll probably be amazed by, because I have been meaning to read The Night Circus for ages. It was a book that Ashley had picked for me in one of my previous TBRs, and I didn't get around to it, but I finally read it, and I am so glad I did, because it has become a new favorite. It is such a beautiful, poetic book, and when I first tried to read it and how it came to be unfinished, which was why it was in that TBR, because I had to get Ashley to pick a book that was unfinished. So it ended up in that unfinished pile because I had read it, and I hadn't really read a lot of like poetic type stories before, so it was really unfamiliar for me, and I wasn't quite sure how to take it. But when I read it this time, I honestly loved it. Like, granted, I had no idea what exactly was happening for majority of the story, not in a bad way, but mainly that I was understanding what I was reading, but I was confused as to like how it related to everything else that happened in the story. Like, how did each little section connect, and how did all these characters connect, and what is the plot? But not in a bad way. I don't know how else to describe that, but it was really entertaining in the fact that I was like, hey Elwood. It was really entertaining in the fact that I was enjoying the writing and enjoying where the story was going, even though I didn't know exactly what the plot was. I knew the main idea of the story, but I didn't know where it was going to go. And I really, really enjoyed it. It wrapped up very nicely. Everything connected very, very well. I think Erin Morgenstern's writing is definitely for me, and I look forward to reading The Starless Sea, which is the second book that she's come out with, but I don't think it's actually related to The Night Circus. But I love her writing. Thanks, Elwood. But I love her writing. It's just beautiful, and I love this book. It was fantastic. Okay, and also the book that I'm currently reading is Marked, which is the first book in the House of Night series. As you know from the read along that I have started, I was meant to be finishing that at the end of April, but our live show isn't until Sunday, so I still have plenty of time to read that. I don't know why it's taking me so long, because it's a very quick read. I just have so much other things, I just have so many other things to get done that I just don't have time to pick up the book. But I should be finishing it this week. Cross fingers, before the live show. Alright, let's get into the Cards Against Books segment. So as you can see, this is my TBR card. I am going to be picking off here because these are all the books that I have left. It is also double-sided. I don't know if you'll be able to see that very well, and including my bookmarks, but voila. So I'm changing this up just a little bit, just until we can get back to normal when I've moved and everything. To make it a little bit easier on myself, I'm only going to pick one black card to match with my white cards, which is free pick, which just means that I get to pick any book I want as long as it matches up with one of these white ones, just because it's going to be a little bit easier for the editing and for the filming and for the reading, because I've got a lot going on in the next couple of months. So please bear with me while I get back on track with everything. So videos might be very, very infrequent. Not that my videos are ever frequent anyway, but I'm hoping that when I move, I can have a better structure with my videos. Oh, and also, as you know, with my previous Cards Against books, I have always like recorded the cards before I've filmed, which isn't going to happen today. I don't know if I'm actually going to continue doing the recording beforehand. I think I might just do it like this. I don't know what you guys enjoy better, but yeah, for the next few months or however long it takes me to get everything sorted, but we're going to be just doing it like this. The non-pre-recorded, the live Cards Against books. So my black card is free pick. I'm going to draw one from this white pile. We have a free pick. That is a recent purchase. Oh, and I'm not going to draw two different choices. I'm going to draw the one. I told you, we're just making it a little bit simpler just until we can get it sorted. But free pick, that is a recent purchase. Let's have a look. I think I have a couple on mine because I did recently buy quite a few books. Okay, not technically a purchase, but it's my game. I do what I want. But technically recently acquired. And I'm going to pick this one, which is Second First Impressions by Sally Thorne. This is the second book that she's written, I believe. She wrote The Hating Game and I absolutely loved it, and I have been dying to read this. So one of my friends, Ashley, she works at a bookshop in Canberra, and she was nice enough to get me the arc of this, even though it's already come out. But I am so excited for it. Like, you have no idea how excited I am. This is probably my most anticipated book of 2021. I love her writing, I love her characters, and I'm looking forward to reading Second First Impressions because I've heard so many good things. From the best-selling author of The Hating Game comes the clever, funny, and unforgettable story of a muscular, tattooed man hired as an assistant to two elderly women under the watchful eye of a beautiful young retirement home manager. It sounds like a really good romantic comedy, and definitely something that I'm going to need in a busy month because it's quick. Then the next one we have is a sequel or next in a series. So I wonder what I have on this that I can pick. Hello buddy, what are you doing? You want to help Mama pick, dear? Do you want to help Mama pick which book we should read? I have this one, which is Queen of Ruin by Tracy Banghart. It's the second book in the Grace and Fury series, which I still have not read. Loved Grace and Fury, and for some reason I keep putting this one off, but it's actually not that long. It's only, 330 odd pages. I think I could do it. Or I'm going to pick, because we are doing the read along, I've got Betrayed as well, which is the second book in the House of Night. So I'm assuming we're still going to continue the series, because part of the read along is if we aren't enjoying it, we're not going to continue. Okay, I might add this one because I do need to get this one read. So I might add this one. Yes, we're going to add Betrayed, which is the second book in the House of Night series. I've already gone over what it's about in previous videos, so I don't think I really need to add too much to it. It's literally just a school for vampires. It's like Vampire Academy, but different. We'll get back to you one day, Queen of Ruin. Very loud out there today. I always film on the worst possible days, don't I? Alright, number 3 out of 4 is a free pick with a person or face on the cover. Let's have a look at what I can pick to read. Spin it around again. I know, because it's another anticipated read of 2021. I want to read The Road Trip by Beth O'Leary. This is another arc that Ashley had got for me, as you can sort of tell, but it's one that I have been waiting to read. I read The Flat Share a couple months ago. Absolutely adored it. It was so well done. Another sort of romantic comedy type book. And I've been wanting to read this one. I haven't read her other book, The Switch, but that's because the plot doesn't really interest me, but this one does. Addie and her sister are about to embark on an epic road trip to a friend's wedding in rural Scotland. The playlist is all planned and the snacks are packed. But not long after setting off, a car slams into the back of theirs. The driver is none other than Addie's ex, Dylan, who she's avoided since their traumatic breakup 2 years earlier. Dylan and his best mate are heading to the wedding too, and they've totaled their car, so Addie has no choice but to offer them a ride. One car, 5 people, a whole lot of history. And as you can see, it has people on the cover, so it counts. I really cannot wait to read this one. I'm very, very excited to be able to put this on my TBR. And number 4, with a book that's unfinished. Well, that actually helps me because I have plenty of books that I have started that haven't finished. And that is one of my goals, to finish books that I have not completed. We'll spin you around again so you can sort of see what's on my card at the moment. Oops. So I don't know if you can really see, but down the bottom are my books that are unfinished. And I do have quite a few. But I'm not going to pick one off this cart because I do have one on Scribd that I did technically kind of start, and that's Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo a couple of months ago. Again, really enjoyed it, but I had a lot of fun reading it, and it's on audiobook, so I want to have that audiobook there so that I can listen to it while I'm painting and doing a lot of work at the new house. So Daisy Jones and the Six is going to be on my list for a book that's technically unfinished. I could be picking any of these, but I'm going to pick that one because I did technically start it already and I haven't gotten too far into it because I wanted to save it for painting. So I'm going to have it there to listen to. Definitely got to have an audiobook on this list. There you go, guys. There is my wonderful TBR of books that honestly, these were books that I really just wanted to read anyway. Like, mainly these two were books that I really wanted to read. So I'm excited that I can have them on my TBR. I'm going to be reading those and Daisy Jones and the Six. I know this isn't very exciting because there's only 4 books on this TBR. I don't think there's anything else that I need to add. I still have books from last month that I want to read because I didn't get to Daggerspell and I didn't finish reading Beyond Belief. So I still need to read those ones. I'm going to definitely have these and I'm very excited to read these too. I think they're going to be super quick and I think it's going to be good to have an audiobook on my TBR as well. So yay! We got through it nice and easy. Well, there you go. That is my TBR and a sort of April wrap up. But thank you all for watching and I will see you in the next video. Bye!